Subscribe to the Books on Toast channel, or Arnab Goswami will be our next Prime Minister. Hello and welcome to the Books on Toast channel. My name is Sharon, and if you're watching and you've been watching us for a while, you would know this is our umpteenth comeback video. Yes, we take breaks, we take long naps, and sometimes we take long snooze breaks for some months. But we always make a comeback and we make it worth everybody's while, including us. So 2020 has been an incredibly strange year for all of us. As you can see, I have made homage to it in my own way. But congratulations for everybody to have survived 2020. 2021 doesn't seem to be any easier on us, but hey, we always have hope. We always have books for company. I took a little bit of a reading break as well. I went through some of my biggest reading slumps in my entire life. I have not read as little as I did in 2020. And I'm going to try and make up for it by reading regularly in 2021 and also doing regular videos and regular content, so that gives me motivation to constantly keep reading and becoming a better person, because if not for reading, I would have lost my mind a long time ago. Maybe already have. I don't know. So as my comeback video, what I wanted to do was do a little compilation of book recommendations that you have asked of me. And I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you who has left comments on our older videos, who have constantly sent us DMs on Instagram, comments on Instagram posts, anywhere on social media, even Twitter, just asking us for book recommendations. And that really made me feel loved and wanted, because let's face it, who cares in today's day and age about anybody? Recently, I asked some of you guys on Instagram to DM me any book recommendations that you want from me in any particular genre or theme or whatever, right? So what I've done is I've compiled some of them into short lists, and I'm going to give you recommendations basis these themes. The first type of suggestion that you guys asked me were feel-good books or books that made you laugh. A book that I just recently finished reading that gave me a lot of joy and glee, that is the book called Club You to Death by Anuja Chauhan. Now, for those of you who have been watching us for a while, you would know that we are big Anuja Chauhan fans, and this goes for both Anuya and me. We have been reading her books since we were in our mid 20s. Her first book came out in 2008, and she's got this great finger on the pulse of the Indian millennial woman. That's what I consider myself. She makes these really witty characters. She has this beautiful handle on her prose. She creates these fantastic situations in which her chief characters and protagonists sort of have these like interesting dalliances, and I am in love with the way she writes. And if you know anything around Delhi and Mumbai life in, in the late 2000s and early 2010s, you would relate to all those pop culture references. Like I think she is the ultimate Indian millennial woman whisperer. She knows what we want and she gives it to us. So Club You to Death is her first crime fiction novel, and because it's Anuja Chauhan, there is romance in it. There are these interesting characters. There is a murder mystery that has to be solved in an elite club in Delhi, and Delhi के club में elections हो रही हैं, and this one trainer is found dead, and now there is a crisis. So what happens to him, who are these characters around him, and then there is this, of course, romance, like I mentioned. You are going to just cream this novel. It is going to consume you. You will find yourself giggling and relating to everything she has written, and you will be like, wow, Anuja, wow. बहुत मजा आया पढ़ के. Okay, so that is one book that I will definitely recommend that you guys read. Another book that I am going to recommend, which I read, and of course it really made me laugh a lot, is this book called 10, a highly specific, defiantly incomplete history of the 21st century by my favorite essayist called Chuck Klosterman. So Chuck Klosterman is a pop culture essayist. He's written for The Guardian, for The Telegraph, and he writes these really long form essays on bands, on TV shows, on movies. Basically, he's a pop culture junkie and he makes the reading worthwhile. So 10 is got, it's just like essays and essays on things that we have loved in the late 2000s and early 2010s, and it's got Breaking Bad, it's got Taylor Swift, it's got Britney Spears, it's got so many strange and interesting things. Of course, there are all these references are largely American, but I won't find fault in it for the reason that it helped me, go back in time and read all this stuff with a sense of nostalgia. So many things in it I related to, and I'm sure if you read it, you might find it interesting as well. So that's definitely one non-fiction pop culture read that I would recommend that really uplifts you in many ways. Another book that will really help you feel good about yourself is this series of stories called Bedtime Stories for Stressed Out Souls. It's a compilation of stories by Lucy Mangan, who has taken short stories from people like Oscar Wilde, Catherine Mansfield, and also excerpts from like folklore, and basically put it together in one book. And sometimes you just need a reminder of how simple and innocent your growing up years were, and it really like weans the stress off. I know that I went through these small anxiety attacks sometime last year, and I had trouble sleeping, so I would just listen to the audiobook version of it on Audible, and it would put me to sleep, and I would just wake up feeling less stressed. So yeah, it helped me like that. Another book that I would recommend that really would help you feel good about yourself, and this is for Terry Pratchett fans. It's a memoir of sorts, and it's called A Slip of the Keyboard, a collection of non-fiction by Terry Pratchett. And this came out in 2015, also the year he passed away. And it's basically non-fiction, so it's his opinion on everything from Gandalf to Alzheimer's, to dementia, to politics, to religion, to pop culture. It's again like a great nonfiction read. So for people who are fans of Terry Pratchett, or even if those of you who have not read anything by Terry Pratchett, it's just again like a nostalgic, feel good novel, that helps you get to know a writer slightly better, but also helps you escape your own reality for some time. So, yeah. So, these 4 books are my ultimate go-to books currently if I am feeling shit about myself and I just want to pick me up. Okay, so the next book recommendation that came in my DMs is, I've binged on Bridgerton. Please, can you recommend similar books and light reads? I have only read one Julia K. Quinn Bridgerton novel from this entire series, and it is The Duke and I. And yeah, it delivers the goods as does the first season. And so this particular genre of books is called Regency romances, and it's basically about British aristocracy in the early 1800s, and it's an era of carriages and corsets and balls and like suitors, and so yeah, it's a colorful era. And so another romance that was very popular around this era was written by Georgette Hare, and it's called Arabella. And again, it's the story of this one girl who wants to marry rich but doesn't come from wealth. And then there is this duke, of course, there is always a duke, who sort of thinks that, she is just going to try to find somebody rich to marry. And she overhears that, and so she pretends to be rich, and ultimately they do fall in love. There are no spoilers in this situation, but it's just a really gleeful, happy, silly read about romance back in the day when it was all strange and taboo and there was societal pressure and stuff like that. But it's also fun, and think of it, it's the plot line of every Bollywood movie ever. Again, very pacey and fun, and so many other characters are going through so many other scandals, and it's just like gossipy and just fun to read. So yeah, definitely recommend Arabella by Georgette Hare. So somebody just literally put in the word Egypt, and that was prompt enough for me to like tell you the next 3 books that will be of immense help to you guys if you are even remotely interested in Egyptology or Egyptian mythology. The first one is Myths and Legends of Ancient Egypt by Joyce A. Tildesley. Tildesley. I may be mispronouncing somebody's name. Forgive me. It is just me. I sometimes mispronounce names, but her books are great. Okay, so Myths and Legends of Ancient Egypt basically is a compilation of all myths and legends around ancient Egypt before the pharaohs came, and it has everything you need to know about Ra, Horus, Osiris, everybody basically, and it's all put together in this one book. And there are also these mortals and how the mortals and the gods coexisted. So it's a bit fun. It's like a little primer to get to know an overview of everything around Egyptian mythology before the pharaoh. Joyce A. Tildesley is also an Egyptologist. Of course, she's written a lot of non-fiction books. Some of it, I will admit, is very dry. But if you are really interested in Egyptian mythology, you will totally enjoy her books from the perspective of learning more about these gods. So don't read it for storytelling. Read it for like research and understanding how Egyptian mythology was also so interesting, right? Like we know so much about Greek and Roman already. And yeah, this also helps you like sink your feet into the sand dunes of Egypt. Other books by her that I feel you will enjoy is called The Daughters of Isis, The Women of Ancient Egypt. It has everybody from Nefertiti, Cleopatra to even Hatshepsut, and there is another standalone novel called Hatshepsut, The Female Pharaoh by Joyce again. And again, very interesting, powerful memoirs of women of incredible power and wealth and status in ancient Egypt, and how systematically over a period of time they were removed from their position of worth in society because they are Vamians. Another series, if you're looking for YA on Egypt, is the Kane Chronicles by Rick Riordan. It's a series of 3 novels, and it's that same trope, right? Like Egyptian gods have woken up and now they are in America. God only knows why, but they are fighting amongst themselves because all Egyptian gods fight amongst themselves. I don't know. Okay, read it only why? Because there is a series coming out this year or next year, and you would be ahead of the curve. But yeah, it's just like why fun fantasy to read about Egypt, so why not? This is a really complicated question, and I will try to answer it. So, the best and the worst book that I read in 2020. Let's start with a very simple thing. Best book that came out in 2020 that I enjoyed reading in 2020 has to be Jinn Patrol on the Purple Line by Deepa Annapara. I have spoken much about it, and I'm not going to talk more about it except for the fact that you must read it. It's literary fiction, debut female author, amazing. And the second is, of course, My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This book was our previous Bot Readers Club pick of the month, and it talks about child sexual abuse and grooming, and it's a very disturbing novel, but it's just a book that I could not put down. Both these books were my best books that I read in 2020. Having said that, let me also tell you that in 2020 I struggled with reading and finding new good books to read, and I don't know what it was, man. Like any book that I picked up in most part of 2020, I did not emote with, I did not enjoy reading, and it really put me through one of the longest, driest reading slumps of in living memory. I have not read this little as I have read in the previous year, only because I was uninspired. I didn't really like anything I read. How I broke that reading slump, because that's another question you have asked me. How can I break my reading slump? Is that this one particular book that I discovered through a friend of mine who recommended it to me when I was being like, I can't find anything nice to read. Is this book called The Beekeeper of Aleppo by Christy Leftery. It's a book that's based in the Middle East. It's about Syrian refugees who in 2015, 2016 had to leave their country land and escape on boats. Many of them drowned and come to Western Europe. So some of them went to Germany, some of them went to England. And this is the story of one family. actually two families and what all they endured in their last few days in Syria. I mean, I read this book very recently, and with everything that's happening around the world and even in India, I'm provoked to think, should I leave? Should I stay? And those are the same questions that are plaguing these two families. They want to leave, but they keep waiting. And by the time they leave, they lose more than they gain. So it's so thought provoking, it's so surreal, it's so sad, and it's just beautifully written. It broke a dam inside me somewhere, and I've wept for this family, I wept for their trauma. It really it really punctured a hole in my heart, and it saddens me, right? Like, I'm thinking about it and I'm getting teary eyed already. But it's just a strong book, it's a strong narrative, and I can't recommend this book enough. It's also a very underrated literary fiction novel. Some of you asked me that as well, an underrated literary fiction novel. It helped me get over my reading slump, but more than that, it gave me again perspective, and that's one of the reasons I read so much and why 2020 was so miserable, because I just couldn't read. Okay, moving on to something less dreary but equally unpleasant. A book that shows the mirror to humanity, a non-fiction book that reads like fiction. Only one non-fiction book. If you're not a non-fiction reader and there's only one non-fiction book that you should read, just read Homo Sapiens by YVL. That is not YSL, okay? It's Yuval Noah Harari. Sapiens is a book that chronicles the history of mankind from our evolution to how we got here. And it's a history that spans thousands of years. And why are we the way we are, and what are the ways in which we think about our world? It's insane. I think I'll tell you just one small thing from this book, and that is that the reason why human beings are the dominant species, one of the reasons why human beings are the dominant species and have endured and have impacted the planet in ways that no other species before us, no other dominant species before us has been able to do, is because we have this knack for storytelling. And we tell stories to each other that so many of us agree upon, and then we utilize those stories to become the reason for our being, right? Now, you can sometimes agree or disagree on many things. Religion, you could have different religious beliefs. Spiritual, different spiritual beliefs. Political, different political beliefs. Geographical, language, so many different stories that many people would not agree upon but will coexist, right? The one story, think about this. What do you think is the one story that we all tell each other and that we all believe? It's the story of money. We have made paper currency, or now digital currency, a currency. It is the ultimate symbol of how we have given value to something that typically should not have value, but it has value and it rules all of our lives. And that is what is keeping us together and also moving forward and evolving as a species. The fact that we all believe in this concept of money. Something to think about. Yeah. Another non-fiction book that is actually reads like a thriller, like a crime mystery thriller, is this book called Bad Blood: Secrets and Lies in the Silicon Valley Startup by John Carreyrou. It is not a Taylor Swift song. It is the story of a female entrepreneur called Elizabeth Holmes and her rise and fall and what happens in between. There's also a documentary on this particular book, which is available on Hotstar if I'm not wrong. But read the book. It reads like a fiction, pacey fiction novel, and you will be like, what? Truth bomb after truth bomb after truth bomb, and just how easy it is to make fools out of the smartest people in the world if you have the right idea and if you have the right branding and the right packaging and if you have zero product. Everybody wants a great story, right? Think about that. Okay, I'm done giving truth bombs, guys. Next, moving on to more pleasant things of pain and misery that's happening in fiction. Okay, some of you asked me for my favorite or a thriller or a mystery that I really like reading. Let me tell you a recent thriller that I read, which I could not put down. It's called The Still House Lake by Rachel Kane. It's a story of a woman who realizes her husband is a serial killer. She uproots her entire life from one part of the country to the other part of the country along with children. But there is another serial killer, or maybe it is the same person, her ex husband, who is stalking her, or maybe it is somebody new. Nobody knows, but they are just stalked and harassed, and bodies are turning up from nowhere, and now shit is gonna go down. You gotta read to know what happens next. Indian historical fiction. I haven't read much, but I'll tell you the one that I have really liked reading and I can read again. It's called Midnight Children by Salman Rushdie. Not the best, you might say, but I think it qualifies to be Indian historical fiction because it is based around the partition years, the situations that led to the partition, and what happens afterwards. It's got magical realism and strange things happening, but yeah, I consider it historical fiction. If you, however, have found and read some incredible historical fiction, please hit me up in the comment section below. I would really like to know more. Well, there you have it. Thank you for watching this video. Please do subscribe to our channel, leave us comments, tell us more books that we should be reading, ask us for more book recommendations. I might do another recommendation video, but I just didn't want to overwhelm you guys with too many book recommendations which are too random. But yeah, these are some of my favorite books that I have read in the past few months. And I hope they give you comfort and joy and help you in your reading journey, because if you don't read, you will never get perspectives. And let's face it, nothing around us is giving us perspective. We don't know how to feel about anything. We don't know how to feel about disease, about our life, where should we go, what should we do. Best thing to do is to read, only because they offer you a little escape from your own reality. They offer you perspectives, and they just help you grow as human beings. And who doesn't want to grow, right? I know I'm growing like this, but I want to grow like this. Okay, bye. Love you guys.